podcast. I'm your host, Noah Love, and today we will be talking about Game 2. The Thunder smoke the Pacers in Game 2. We will be discussing that. We will also be discussing Nick Chubb to the Texans and how that makes them even more dangerous than they already were in the ASC. We will talk about that, and we will also be talking about Jair Alexander being released by the Packers early this morning. Where does he go? What's a good landing spot for him, the former All Pro cornerback? We will talk about those things today on the Don't Argue with Facts podcast. Let's just kick it off with the Thunder and Pacers game one. The Thunder destroyed the Pacers after the Pacers got at that comeback in game one. OKC dominates. And what really killed the Pacers was the second quarter. That I think it was 19. That 19-2 or 17-2 stretch did them in. That killed them, and that's why OKC won the game. That's the stretch that did them in. The reason OKC won this game, obviously, Shea was fantastic. Uh, it was obviously their defense, but Chet Holmgren had an impact. Uh, he was very great. He had 15.6 boards. Um, Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins had great games off the bench. Alex Caruso had 20 off the bench. Aaron Wiggins had 18. Aaron Wiggins, magnet ball, as people say, he was incredible with 18 points. He really made all the difference because you didn't really get that in game one. I mean, even Hardenstein, look, they played the double big, and while the double big lineup was out there, Hardenstein and Holmgren, I thought they played well together. They went to a Hardenstein played more minutes in game two than he did in game one, because in game one when he was out there, he was really a plus. I don't know why they didn't play him more in game one, but that's besides the point. Indiana, look, nobody really played well. You'll look at Halliburton's stats, bro. Halliburton was a no-show. He wasn't looking at the basket. Lou Dort did a really good job, I thought, denying him. Obi Toppin didn't have it. He was cold. Uh, he didn't play as well. McConnell and Matherin played well, I thought, but that's about it. Nimhard, I felt like he didn't really have it. Neesmith was okay in the game. Siakam, just the defense affected him. Turner, he really had a good third quarter, but outside of that, it wasn't really good. But the Pacers did what they needed to do. They went out there. They went out there and they did what they had to do in game one and got uh got the split in OKC. Well, Casey Wallace incredible defensively as well. Now here's the key. Game three is the big one. Because again, if you are the Pacers, you cannot let the Thunder get that. I always say this when it's 1-1. That first game going back home, you have to get. Because if you win game two, if you win game three, now there's pressure on both teams, obviously to tie the series and obviously to go up 3-1. But you're looking at going up 3-1, or it's like best of three. If you're Indiana, you have the home court. It's 1-1. To me, they have to win both games. Because if they go back 2-2 against OKC, that's going to be tough winning in that place. I believe if the Pacers can win both games in Indy, they'll win the series. Because look, I believe, could they win one in OKC? Yeah, yes, they've done it before. But game six in Indiana, I think they could do that as well. The Pacers could win that. Look, this is going to be tough against OKC. It's going to be a very tough match. Look, and Wednesday night is going to be rocking in there. OKC was essentially playing. It almost felt like for their season here because look, if you had gone down 0-2, I mean, look, that's your. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to get swept, but that would have been a tough time trying to come back. Not saying I haven't seen teams do it before, but in the finals, oof, it would have been a tough time. The Pacers obviously play better. I feel like their stars play better in their building. I feel like Siakam and Halliburton play a little bit better in their building. Obviously, the role players do. Um, it's going to be about they're gonna have to make adjustments to obviously OKC's defensive physicality. They're just so deep. You don't know where it's gonna come from in terms of their depth. I mean, look, Caruso obviously always gives them something, but then like game two, it's Aaron Wiggins. The next game it could be Isaiah Joe. You feel like you get what I'm saying? Who knows? The next game it could be Jalen Williams, who's a fan. I mean, you just don't know. Cause that's or it could be a Case and Wallace Royal game. Like you don't know. And kind of you don't know. If I'm the Pacers, look, Halliburton has to look at the room. He has to set the tone early. If he sets the tone early, they have a way better chance to win the basketball game. A way better chance. Obviously, you're gonna have to get something from Obi Toppin in Indiana. He gave you great. He was great in game one. He was bad in game two. McConnell has been consistently good in games one and two. Matherin not was I thought was good defensively in game one. Was decent defensively in game two. Guys, offense going. That you gotta take that as a positive. Indiana, Indiana here, they need to find a way to win the next two games. And if you're OKC, bare minimum obviously is a split. Because you can't lose both games on the road. That's just tough. That going back down three, that's a hard task against that Pacers team. Where it's gonna be fun. Game 3 and 4 are going to be fun. Games 3 are the big time ones because it's another swing game. It's game 3s are the swing games in series. So look, I thought OKC was better on their pick and roll defense. I thought even though they didn't force as many turnovers, they just affected Indiana's rhythm. I thought every time Indiana came with a run, OKC was great in the response. But you're gonna have to kill Indiana. It's a 48-minute game. You're going to have to kill them. The reason Indiana didn't get back into the game was because OKC did not allow them to get back into the game. They did not allow it. They said, you got us once. You're not getting us twice. Not tonight. We're shutting this down. We going 1-1 back to Indianapolis. That's what we're doing. And now the series gets interesting. Game 3 is a massive, massive game in these finals. And both teams, they'll be ready to play. OKC will be ready to play. Indiana, the city, they had 25 years. They've been waiting for this. They'll most definitely be ready to play. It's going to be a fun one. I cannot wait to watch it. Wednesday night will be insane. Hope those tickets though, not going to the game. Those tickets are insanity. Anyways, let's go on to Nick Chubb. Former Pro Bowl running back Nick Chubb passes his physical. He passed his physical with the Texans. Former Cleveland Browns running back Nick Chubb has passed his physical and will sign with the Houston Texans. The physical was the last step for Chubb, joining the team and creating a 1-2 punch in the backfield with Chubb. Chubb has dealt with injuries over the past 2 seasons as he suffered a season-ending knee injury in Week 2 of the 2023 season and a broken foot in Week 15 of the 2024 season. However, When the 29-year-old is on the field, he is still productive running back. He may not be the Pro Bowler he once was, but Chubb could fit well in the Texas offense alongside their star running back Mixon. In 2024 season, Chubb rushed for 332 yards and 3 touchdowns, as well as 5 receptions for 31 yards and a touchdown. He only appeared in 8 games due to injuries, but still showed flashes of still being an effective running back, including a 2 touchdown performance in Week 12 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. With Chubb passing his physical, the Texans have officially formed a great 1-2 punch who could help elevate their offense around star QB quarterback CJ Stroud. This makes the Texans way more dangerous. The reason this makes the Texans way more dangerous is a combination of two things. One, it takes pressure off of that offensive line. That offensive line was bad last season. Just straight up bad. CJ got killed in terms of the pass protection. They were better in run blocking, in zone blocking in their run schemes, but outside of that, their pass protection got awful. Now that you have two backs that you can run the ball with, that takes a little bit more pressure off of Stroud. Stroud does not have to do as much. Yes, he's still going to have to make some plays, a lot of plays for them to be successful. Absolutely. But having Chubb and Mixon, it also takes the load off of Mixon a little bit because Mixon does not have to carry the ball 30 times a game. He at times when you need him, he can be fresh. I think having Chubb in there, Chubb can tote the rock maybe about 10 times a game. Or unless they split the carries 15 and 15. But I don't know how Houston want to do it. You finally have a backup back, a legit backup back, even though Chubb could be a starter. Look, the injuries have just kind of zapped him a little bit, but he can still be a productive back in this league. I really like this move from Houston's point of view, and I think Houston, obviously, I think they're gonna have a really good season again, and probably are gonna win the South again, um, unless the coach could figure out the QB situation, or if Travis Hunter is better than advertised and Liam Cohen can get that offense going again for Jacksonville. Uh, yeah, but I feel like Houston are the favorites in the AFC South, and right now I feel like they are a top 3 to 5 ish team. Um, in, in the AFC, look, Nick Chubb to the Texans, it makes them way more dangerous. It makes them dynamic. I feel like it makes them dynamic. Obviously, they'll probably win. Obviously, like I just said, they'll probably win the South. But I love this for Houston. And look, it was already tough to tackle Mixon last year for many AFC opponents. It will be tough. It's going to be now even tougher because not only will I have to tackle Mixon, I have to tackle Chubb as well. So, I mean, it's just going to be a tough task. Um, for It's going to be just an insane task for those two. For teams in the AFC, it's just going to be an insane task, and I think the Texans are better with him than without him. Now, going to Jair Alexander, the Packers have released star cornerback Jair Alexander. When healthy, Jair Alexander is one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL, the 8th year pro. has been named to a pair of Pro Bowls in the last year. The 28-year-old allowed a passer rating of less than 90 for the fifth time in 7 years. That's impressive. Alexander also has 12 career interceptions. However, the when healthy caveat hasn't been a major one. Alexander, he has missed 10 games in each of the past 2 seasons. And the last time Alexander played every game in the season was 2019, which was 6 years ago. Yikes. That injury history and annual salary of $21 million was a bridge too far for the Packers. After failing to agree on a restructured contract, Alexander was released Monday by the Packers president Mark Murphy telling Dave Schroeder of W. Bay that it was simply a matter of availability. And I just want to say this. All this was for the Packers is you're getting paid too much for what you've been producing because you have not been on the field. Yes, okay, you're a great player, but if we can't restructure your contract, we're paying you $21 million. We can't pay that if you're not going to be on the field. So no problem with this for Packers. Well, first of all, he's been a great player for us, Murphy said. Obviously, elite talent, and, unfortunately, just injured a lot. It's kind of unfortunate. That's a big part of the game. There will be no shortage of entrance in a player who has shown elite upside when healthy, and the teams listed here should be the first among to pick up the phone. There's a lot of teams that come to mind for me. The Miami Dolphins, the Detroit Lions, the Indianapolis Colts, even though, yes, they kind of address that, they can address it more. I'm trying to think of who else. San Francisco. The Buffalo Bills, if he could stay healthy, if they want to get over the hump, the Bills really need some help there, I believe. Probably the Vikings. And then with no Schley, probably the Eagles. Those will kind of be my just off the top of my head list. Eagles because they lost Schley. Colts need help anyways. Dolphins, uh, they they need help and plus I believe they may be moving Ramsey to safety. I'm not sure about that, but I think he'd be a good safety. But yeah, Jair Alexander will be on the team before the start of the season. Now, where he signs, I have no clue. I assume he signs with a contender. Um, but it'll have to be at a reasonable price. Like he can't be out here going crazy because it's like, bruh, you can't be out here. We can't be out here paying you. I don't know. Let's say we can't be out here paying you 18 to 20 million and you're hurt and you're not giving us the production of an 18 to 20 million dollar Pro Bowl cornerback. That's just not happening. I think a reasonable price for him, and it's maybe 12, 15, maybe I don't know, 10 million, in between 10 to 15, I think, because when he's on the field he's elite. So I don't want to take it away from him, but he's got to be healthy. He's just got to be healthy. Who knows? But I think a contender will take a shot on him because again, he is really, really good. He's a great corner, and it's just a matter of staying healthy. And now, will he be healthy? I have no idea. I have no clue. But I do believe obviously there is somebody that will take him. Maybe Pittsburgh could be a team that tries to take a shot as well. I mean, they're kind of good in the secondary, but you never know. That's kind of going to segue into the last topic we're going to talk about here, as the Pittsburgh Steelers signed Aaron Rodgers. they gave him 10-year 10-year. Yeah, they didn't give him 10 years. They gave him 10 mil guaranteed. They signed a 1 year, 13.6 million contract, 10 million guaranteed, but can be upwards to 19.5 million with incentives. The team, which said Rodgers will speak to the media on Tuesday tomorrow following the first practice of Pittsburgh's mandatory mini camp, announced quarterback signing shortly after. The Steelers also revealed Rodgers will don number 8, as he did with the New York Jets the past 2 years. Rappaport Pelissero and NFL Network insider Mike Garfalo initially reported Thursday that Rodgers informed the club he would fly into Pittsburgh and sign a deal. The Steelers confirmed a day later they had agreed to terms pending a physical, and a day after that completed the final hurdle. Rodgers' participation in minicamp and a post-practice news conference will tie a bow on what's been a long, drawn-out free agency process. You'd think, as a four-time most valuable player with 62,952 career passing yards and 503 passing touchdowns, finally joins his third NFL team. Uh, Rather than sign in the initial days of free agency like many of his fellow high-profile players, Rodgers waited, sorted out whatever needed sorting out, contemplating a 21st season while the football world shuffled on. I was just like, dog, I was like, when the Steelers didn't draft the quarterback, I was like, okay, they probably have this Rodgers deal in hand, but I don't know. My only thing with signing Rodgers was because he can still play. Because we know this, he can still play. My only thing with signing him was, do I want to wait on him? Uh, do I want to wait? Obviously, do I want to wait on him? Because like the season, obviously, the season, it really starts in April. Really, after the draft, that's when it really gets. We're trying to get continuity with the guys. Free agents are signed. All that. We're learning new systems. We're learning systems, or we're relearning it, or playbooks. We got potentially new coaches coming in here, new players, obviously how they fit in, whatever. I just thought if you want him to get continuity with DK and Calvin Austin and just getting a feel of handing the ball off to Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, I thought, look, do you want to wait on him? But at the same time, it was like, you kind of want to wait on Aaron Rodgers because I'm looking at that quarterback room, Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. That's not, even though Mason Rudolph plays well in the Pittsburgh system, it's just, I don't know. And Will Howard, you don't really know what you have in him yet, even though I do believe he could be a good quarterback in the National Football League. I just like Will Howard for some reason. I just like him. But that's neither here nor there. Look, is Pittsburgh going to win the division? I have no clue. Uh, Depending on how the Bengals defense is, I'd not with me not knowing them there, I'd probably favor them second, just because Bengals defense was horrific last year. Uh, Love Joe Burrow, but I don't know. About that, I don't think they're better than Baltimore, but you never know. Mike Tomlin pulls out some magic in the first half of the season where they're just like this. Their record's better than what their team actually is. Like their team to start was like 7-2, when with like a 4-5 or 5-4 roster. Like, so I don't know. And then they ended up coming back down to earth because they had a tough schedule at the end of the season. I don't know. Look, he'll obviously have to get acclimated to Arthur Smith's system. He'll be throwing to DK Metcalf, who, look, the Jets have some good receivers, but he's probably the best receiver he's thrown to since prime Devontae Adams. I'm not counting Devontae Adams last year because Devontae's not in his prime. By the way, Rams, that's a great pickup. Devontae Adams is. So yeah, I don't know. They were discussing it today on Get Up. DL was basically saying there's no way you're gonna sit up here and tell me the Steelers are like a top 5 team in the AFC. I don't know if they can win a playoff game. And I'm just up here like, bro, I've seen crazier things happen. Like, we'll have to see them once they get on the field. That's my whole thing. See when they get on. We can make predictions. I don't think they're a top 6 AFC team now. I don't think they're better than Kansas City, Buffalo, Houston, the Chargers. Uh, who else? Who else? Oh, Baltimore. Maybe they're 6. Maybe they're 6. Which, eh, that's kind of eh. Maybe they're 6. I don't know. Maybe Denver's above them. Which will put them probably at 7. But again, I've seen crazier things happen. It's for A Rod. Look, it is just a wait and see. Let's see how this all plays out. That is it for today. Thank you guys recently for the support on the YouTube shorts and on the videos. I appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and peace.